chief campaign advisor and policy advisor on the broadcast in the last 20 minutes or so today. Bob Chapman will be joining us. I know we got loaded phone lines, and I've really just been spinning out and ranting because it's so obviously corrupt and evil what we're facing. We are still a really great country in so many ways. And I just can't believe what we've turned into. It makes me actually become flummoxed. I mean, I think about this and really accept and grieve. It's in between crying and getting dizzy. I know why people faint sometimes. It's just it's the realization. Look. You can't just go through life while a bunch of psycho demons that are kidnapping kids and blowing up buildings and stuff are running your country. I mean, you're supposed to be totally freaked out about it. They're real monsters, but they're humans. I mean, if they had green skin and fangs, could it get people upset and do something about them? In their minds, they're vampires. Sadistic, blood-wallowing, biological android ticks, giant 200-pound self-mobile ticks that blend in with us and are all around us. And spiritually, they are tuned into hell itself. And I can pick up on them. I've got their total mindset, their wavelength down, and I just, man, I'm like, God, my discernment just gets more and more intense by the day. I just start asking, I can't even look at these people anymore. It's not even hatred or disgust anymore. It's just like, ugh. And then I don't even have the capacity to fear them. 15, 16 years ago, I get a death threat, I get a little bit scared. I can't even worry about defending myself. I can't even be scared anytime. It's like I'm losing my basic humanity. I don't even know how to describe it. I just do not like being around these people. All right, let's just go ahead and go to some of your phone calls. I'll get at all the other news. We got a bunch of guests coming up today. Robert in Washington, you're on the air. Go ahead.
Hey, Alex. Merry Christmas. Hey, congratulations on winning those Liberty Awards, you and your crew, and the fine work you did as a filmmaker for the last 17 years. We know you're not in it for the money like some people, like the traders over at the IRN. And I talked to you a couple of times on Dr. Stan, and I brought up the Beyond Treason, and I understand the reasons about that. But every family should watch Beyond Treason. Have young people learn to watch or get that video online, Beyond Treason. Another quick point I have to bring Ron Paul ideas forth. Of course, you remember the Obama Joker flyer. What if we had Ron Paul wins the presidency? Or so many little different issues. We could do hypothetical ones in the future. Ron Paul can win. Every activist, hand these people out. Because I go to a pub sometime and I tell the guy about Ron Paul. And he says, who? Is he one of the main ones? I says, he's the only one. You know, the fluoride heads are so ignorant. But what?
Well, no, you got two different crowds. You got those of us that are awake and getting more awakened and more informed. And you got those that just watch mainstream TV who literally have no idea what planet they're on.
But what about that, Alex? Is that a dumb idea? It's not like trying to boycott the gas station once a year. I think it may have value. If everybody would take these Ron Paul things, like Ron Paul wins the presidency, it's in the time warp in the future where Ron Paul defeats Obama.
No, exactly. That's how you counter their thing of ignoring Ron Paul or saying he can't win, as you say Ron Paul has won the presidency. That's a great way. We can even do an article about that and explain how it's counter-propaganda against them. In the next paragraph, show how it's the opposite of the mind game they're playing and kind of show people the trick that way. Great point. As for the money thing, it is good for us to actually be strong, to be able to defend ourselves. You know, it's been said that I work too much, and I really do. I do the nightly news most nights, or one of the other reporters does. I do the radio show, I do all these interviews. We're going to be here this Sunday with a special Christmas transmission. And I tend to get negative and angry. I know there's a lot of good people at every level of society, and America is in a lot of trouble, but we're still the best nation on earth. I've been to a lot of other countries. It's just painful to see this globalist, artificial culture being forced into every society. and to just see corruption rising. And to see people sold on thinking you can't fight it. In my experience, when you fight corruption, it parts like the Red Sea in your own little area. But you've got to fight it. You've got to stand up to it. You've got to walk on faith. I mean, you've got to step forward. You've got to say no. You got to say, hey, threaten to kill me all you want or do whatever it is. I'm not going to live in fear. And that takes the power away from the enemy. Now, I should be calm. I should just steadfastly face this. But I am an angry person. I can't help it, folks. I've always hated bullies. I've always hated people that hurt little animals. I'm a big softy. But in that, I am an extremely aggressive person. And it is torture. It is torture when the families call me every day with their kids being taken. And then I found out it's 9 core subsidiaries who run open child kidnapping operations worldwide, and it's even in the mainstream news, and they're running the CPS local, and I know they're a bunch of pervs, and I just, it's horrible to see the crime continue. And I guess for the rest of the yuppies and everybody, they just go out and have fun and party, and if something happens to them, their friends don't care about them. It's all fake. It's all real shallow. It's not real. And most of these people aren't real friends. They don't really come through. It's like delusional. It's not. I'm going to go to your calls. It's just, I don't even want to say it shook me up yesterday. But I have passed almost emotional or awakening periods in my life. I realized like a spiritual threshold. And previously I'd cross them every 2 or 3 years and would have like this big come to Jesus moment, could really feel it and consciously see the area I'm going into and the responsibilities. And then last night, God just showed me so much, and I couldn't even talk. And I do not even feel worthy to be here bringing you this information. And it just absolutely brought me to a place I've never been to, where God just really says, you want to see the evil? Here it is. Feel it. And to feel what the children are feeling, God Almighty. Folks, we gotta get good people to stand up against these people. God. I probably shouldn't even have done this radio show today because I have this disgusted cover for how I just hate the globalists, but it's more than that. And I just get flippant and angry, but it's because deep down, folks, I can see what they're doing, and we have a responsibility to stop these globalists. Where are the men in this country? Where are the men in this world? What the hell have we become? We just offer our children up to the system with the fluoride in the water and the GMO hurting them, and we let fat perverts grab them at the airport to train them for the pedophile government. And we've just got such a sick society. I don't even want to go to calls, and everybody will go, oh, Alex, it's all right. I don't even, this is quite the spectacle. I'll just tell you this, folks, if you're not upset yet, like the bumper sticker says, you're not paying attention. I grieve for where this country's going to go. This country's going to be destroyed. The globalists, if they have their way, are going to kill millions of people. They're going to run the same type of stuff they did in the Soviet Russia when they broke all the Christian farmers and killed them and starved them and stuff. What they're setting up, I've seen the attack profile, we got all the documents. And because we're a decadent nation who's been beguiled and put into a trance, go ahead and get the interview with Fine. I'm going to air that now. Then I'll go to my guest later. It is unspeakably bad what's going to happen, but it's the law of the universe. If we stand by and let third world people be killed, and think it's funny and make jokes about it and think it's sexy to torture people and sexy to have no rights or due process and all these soft, cowardly, domesticated people who are just victims of their own, culture, sit there and go, well, I have nothing to hide. So what if they can secretly arrest me? It is unspeakable where we're going to go. Yeah, cut off my intro. Will you have it right up to fine? Yeah, this is from the Nightly News last night. We'll play this in this segment, go to break and play a little bit more of it. It's like 30 minutes long. It's up at prisonplanet.tv, and it's on the YouTube channel for everybody. I want to come here on the air and give you a heartfelt, true, deep analysis. And what happens is I read all these hundreds of news articles and have all this information and then just get so angry by the time I get on air that most of the time I can't even get to much of it because it's so much crazier than I can even say. And we're so accustomed to putting up with evil now. And I just see men and women who've been made weak and rendered broke back. And and then the evil just runs wild and does whatever it wants. Who will stand up against the wicked ones? Who will stand up for the children? Who will stand up for the innocents and the widows? Who? Where are you? What is wrong with you as men out there, as police? To hear how almost the entire Oklahoma City Department knows the government, the feds blew it up, and they're all scared. What in earth has we've turned into? A demonic country. A demonic world. And if you think things are bad now, we're going over the edge into the abyss right now. And all of you trying to take care of yourselves, all of you only worried about your ego and how you look and what's going on, who are afraid of what your neighbors say. Don't you get when everybody goes along with the evil thinking they'll be left alone? That's what lets the evil take over. Don't you understand that? Let's go to Ron Paul's chief policy advisor, constitutional lawyer, Bruce Fine. Here it is. Bruce, thanks for joining us from D.C. What should we get into first, the giant police state power grab or Ron Paul's counter to it?
Well, I think we should get into the power grab first because that really transcends any individual candidate. It's something that's going to come to haunt the United States, not only today, but in the future if we survive as a genuine sovereignty that celebrates the Republic. And not only do we have this National Defense Authorization Act that Ron Paul condemned that crowns the military with authority to detain any of us for life in the United States if the president says we're substantially aiding an associated force of the Taliban to attack coalition forces, a totally open-ended standard that now makes all of our liberties at the whim of the president. And then we have this continuity in government revelation that we discussed earlier that suspends democracy, suspends the republic in the event of some so-called emergency that the president declares, or whatever standard of emergency is, and basically pits the government against the people. Instead of, that's an inversion of what the Constitution is about, which says we, the people, are sovereign, not the government. The government is the steward of our liberties, not the grantor of our liberties that are unalienable. And we also know from stories recently that we have surveillance drones on the southwest border, the government claiming they can surveil us from the day we step out, the moment we step out of our house until we go back into our bedroom without any probable cause, without any warrants. That's what's being made as a claim in the United States Supreme Court. We're using predator drones to kill people based upon secret evidence and secret law that the president says he can't disclose. There's no post-mortem. There's no way to hold anyone accountable for these assassinations that remind me of the Gulag archipelago of Solzhenitsyn, during the Soviet days. And it never ends. Always more encroachment on liberty, always more encroachment on privacy, and this futile quest for so-called absolute risk-free existence, which is a guarantee of simply detaining and arresting everyone on the theory that we're not all saints. A truly horrifying, I think, development. And the incredible thing is there's so little resistance. Rand Paul voted against these kinds of bills in the Senate, but it's really a handful overall. Only 13 senators out of 100 oppose this tyrannical rule.